E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover Mentoring Our Youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our hosts, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Leda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by Mr. Emerson Brantley Incorporated. Along with the 6minutewebinar.com. We're so glad you tuned in today. Emerson, it's so good to see you here. I'm very, very, very excited about what we're going to be talking about today. And ladies and gentlemen, right before the show, Emerson showed me a photo of him back when he was young and good looking. And I mean, yeah,
excited about the photo.
Yeah, let's see it right there. Let's kick this thing off. See.
Well, I'll come back to this later. This was one of the magazines.
Oh, were you the cover girl on that one?
No, that was not. That was the picture Jim really got excited about, though.
Oh,
Anna Kournikova. She was the cover girl, the glamour girl of sports. And this was a magazine that later became Millionaire Magazine.
Yeah.
And I was the editor.
What is the lady's name? What is the model's name on the cover? The model's name on the cover?
Anna Kournikova. There she is.
Anna Kournikova.
She was, known as the glamour girl of sports.
Yeah, she was what, tennis?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
here's one more people might recognize, okay?
Yeah, there's Tiger Woods.
Yeah. We had them all. We had them all. But I handled their online magazine, which leads into what we're talking about today. And this was one of those issues. That was the picture of me. Whoop, there we go. A little
bit more to there. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I didn't recognize that your red tie on there.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, about what time frame was this? You say that magazine changed its name to Millionaire Magazine. Is that correct?
Yeah, this would have been early 2000s.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I created their very first online, we called it various things. We called it an e-zine. We called it a magalog. We called it, basically, it was a monthly newsletter style that took the advertisers that we had and gave them highlighted articles. And I was the editor of that part of it. And I had an article in the main magazine each month as well.
Wow.
That's only one. I'm going to show two or three others.
Okay.
Because today we're going to be talking about how you can reach your ideal clients and they will stay engaged and they will be interested. And every single month you can bring them new and exciting information. And sometimes, every so often, new and exciting offers or products that you have. Yeah. And this is huge. It has never, ever, ever been this easy. Ever. Ever, ever. Did I say ever? Never.
Never, ever?
Never.
Yeah, I hear you.
I had a team of people to do some of these that I'm going to be showing you. And obviously for the magazine, we had a whole team of people. You don't need that anymore.
Wow.
You don't need it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what Jim got excited about, seeing Emerson without a beard.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to hear that story too about the magazine there. And what year did the magazine actually get started in? Do you remember? Or
I don't know the year it got started. This would have been around 2003, maybe
about 20 years
2002,
ago.
somewhere in that period.
Hmm.
So, it became Opulence. Their website address was millionaire.com, and millionaire.com is still out there. I think it's been sold a time or two.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a magazine that some of our viewers may remember called the Robb Report.
Yes.
Which was going. This goes back a ways.
Yeah.
I wasn't involved with the Robb Report, but
Yeah.
what those particular magazines were about, their market were the affluent, and obviously people who want to be affluent.
Yeah.
So Rolex watches was a huge advertiser. Any brand that you think of, different Italian designers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Okay? Jaguars, not the Jacksonville Jaguars, but Jaguars. So any of the ones, your Diamond, your providers. Any of the very, very, the ones focused on that market were the advertisers, and that was the market that Opulence and Millionaire Magazine were focused on.
Yeah.
Now, what they didn't have, and what many of our viewers, Jim, don't have, is something that does that same kind of thing every month for clients and customers and patients. Because just sending out emails or sending out offers or things like, or changing your blog post, things like that all help, and you should be doing them all. But those aren't the kinds of things that really capture get them engaged with you. And now I'm speaking, Jim, not just to people who have businesses. I'm speaking to your nonprofits.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a tourist bureau, or if you're a VFW post, since that's something Jim and I both worked extensively with.
Yes.
Or American Legion, but or any of the other veterans organizations. If you are a nonprofit, having that monthly newsletter type of touch is very important. What's the problem, Jim?
The biggest problem I've ran into with the nonprofits is that they really don't know how to communicate their value.
That's
all
number
they
one.
do, and all you see is that, hey, match this money or give us money and we can do this, that, or the other. They're just always asking for money rather than leading someone to get them excited about, I want to be a part of that. I want to be involved in that. These people here are going to raise funds and they're going to help feed, the homeless people, the children. They're going to provide funds for, kids that need medical attention where their parents cannot afford it. I want to be involved in that. You got to give them got to tell them what your cause is, not the reason why you're asking for money.
Well, and Jim, you like to put up there the banner about me and the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
What many nonprofits do, they focus on fundraising, right? And then they get interns to come in and do all of these different things for them. Well, the interns, generally speaking, don't know any of the things that you were just explaining.
Yeah, exactly.
And they think it's really cool that they get great images and they get great stories and they get great this, but and you know what, folks, if that's what you're working with, that's better than nothing. So do it.
Yes.
And I encourage you, though, if that's what you're doing, or even those of you who have a small business, If you have people, and they're often maybe your lower level employees that are being tasked with doing this. And I'm going to give you all several reasons why it is so important to put some focus on it. Get the people some training, get the people some knowledge, help them to understand real clearly what it is that needs to take place to convey the message about you
Oh, yeah.
to your market.
Right.
And it's a market, folks. It's a market. If you're a nonprofit, it's a market. If you're a doctor or dentist, it's a market. If you have a small business in a small town, it's a market.
Amen.
And that market is nationwide. That market is even global. But you need to make sure those messages are reaching your market in ways that they'll read them and respond to them and respond to you.
You know, Emerson, one of the things that I really like that you shared was Mary Kay's famous statement, and she's got a bunch of them.
Oh, she's got a bunch of them.
I mean, she's got a truckload of them. And
she's lady from Texas, Jim.
Yeah, she drove pink Cadillacs, you know. And but my point being is that the one comment that you shared on one of the shows, and we've done on other shows, it really does resonate with me. And that is when Mary Kay, this multimillionaire woman who created this fantastic cosmetic company, and her top performance all
For
got
women.
pink
It was
Cadillac.
the very first one that focused on women.
Yeah.
In a whole army of women
Yeah.
with women's needs and women's voices and women's intelligence and everything else. It was
Yeah.
the very first one.
And one of the comments that she made, like I say, there's a bunch of them if you just Google it. You know, Mary Kay
please do.
slogans or comments, whatever, please do, because they come in little, signs and all. But the one that really resonates with me, and this really fits here, is that people do not care about you until they find out how much you care. That's a principle across the board. Whether you got a business for profit, a nonprofit, if you're a doctor, attorney, it doesn't matter.
And the way she said it was, they don't care how much you know.
Yeah.
Until they know how much you care.
There, he said it best. I twisted it around.
No, well, but it's the same idea. Caring. One of the things that I've often said about marketing, Jim, and you've heard me say it many times, and many of the viewers have too. If you ask me one word to define your marketing, I would say relationship. You're building relationships. And what I see so often, Jim, and you do too, all of our viewers do. But look, I use my wife, okay? My wife, she found a company that she really thought was great as far as the recipes, watching a show. So she went in to get the recipe, and they gave her the opportunity to opt in to get more recipes. So now what? Every single day she's being given not just here's the recipe of the day. If you have friends coming over, do this. Here's this new pots and pans. Here's this new sifter. Here's this new this, and pitching. You know, none of us want that. We want to build that relationship.
No.
And we want to feel like we're part of something.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I like to do, I don't do it as often as I should, but I like to be able to, like on Facebook, Facebook is real good about saying, hey, this is this person's birthday. Write a specialized note to them, people that you know. I just want to wish you a happy birthday. Hope you're healthy, happy, and blessed. And I'll say something, appropriate for me because they know I've got a warped sense of humor. I'll tell them on your special day, your favorite dessert is considered health food. Because it really, truly is. And, because that that personal connection. That's what people want. I called my doctor's office, my cardiologist, earlier today, and I was going to find out, I got a message that he was leaving, and I was wondering where he was going, if he was going to just, be local, and found out he was moving upstate.
Oh,
He's
my
moving
goodness.
to North Texas, because, when you've been through a lot like I have, and you've had a cardiologist there with you over the last 2 years, as I close in on my 2-year heart anniversary from my heart attack, open heart surgery, and all that. I mean, you just don't switch cardiologist in the middle of the stream. And I want to know what happened. He was just moving. He was just moving away. And then I found out that he was referring his patients to this one cardiologist. And of course, Baylor, Scott, and White, they couldn't say, this. They says, this is our list, please, they got to play it, very even. And, but my point being is that I knew how much he cared about me.
Right. You had a relationship.
When I went in to see him, he didn't have all day for me to sit there and talk about my tomatoes or my car or anything like that. He spent about 3 to 4 quality minutes with me after he examined me, as if he had all day.
Wow.
That was one thing I picked up on him. That's why I liked him so much. For 3 to 4 minutes, I was the only person on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And that's what people want. And, when you get in, and I had to go through the phone system, and, the AI phone system, AI, they're great to a degree, but they just.
Boy, I just did that today, Jim, so I know. Yes.
Yeah. It's like I always fight with AT&T. I said, you people are supposed to be in the communication business, and you guys have got the dumbest AI, a program there, app, answering the phone. I want to speak to a real person. I want to speak to a human being. I'm sorry, I did not understand that. I did not get that. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Today with a,
yeah.
It was the biggest urology
Yeah.
group in this area, because everybody's in groups now,
Oh, yeah.
And so they went through and said, if you have Dr. So-and-so and so-and-so, press this. If you have Dr. So-and-so and so-and-so, press this. If you have Dr. So-and-so. And I had to sit through, I'd say over a minute of that before they said, and if you're in such and such an office, click this. Well, I was in the other office. and I ended up getting the most wonderful, just amazing human being. Mm-hmm. And Monica, if you're watching this is about you. I'm putting that out to you. But she was amazing, and she was Johnny on the spot, and she was trying. Mm-hmm. She had to find me because they had merged with another group, and this and that and the other. Everybody's been through these kinds of things. And I just said to her, Jim, at the end, I said, I hope I'm your toughest customer for the day. And the whole time I've been complimentary and happy with her. She was amazing. I kept telling her that. And she laughed. She said, yeah, but I don't think I will. I don't think you will be. But,
yeah,
going through all of that stuff, mm-hmm. It makes, the feeling. I want everybody to think about the feeling. Mm. All I wanted to know, Jim, mm-hmm. was I had uncertainty about my next appointment. That was it. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to confirm it. Mm-hmm. And it took all of that in order to get to some. And let me tell you, if I had had the option, and most of us can say this, I would have pressed option 4 or whatever it would be to talk to a live person.
Oh yeah. People
don't care how much you know. Till you know how much that you care. And we often, and as business people, I've been guilty of this too. We often will go with the fastest, latest, greatest in technology that can save us money and get us what we want, and not be thinking about that client. But what we're going to share with everybody today, Jim, is how all of the technology that's been happening in this one area can actually bring you closer to your clients and make them happier and build those relationships even better. And that's magic.
Yeah, it really is. And that's what people want. They want to know that you
Oh, yeah.
are listening to them. You understand what they're saying.
Mhm.
You care about them. And I remember a principle of a very good advice, rock solid advice that I got from a gentleman by the name of his last name was Fair. I don't remember his first name, Fair. He had Fair store down in Douglas. And he knew I was a young, upcoming manager of a store. And I asked, thank goodness, I asked him a question. I says, how do you handle a customer when they come in with a complaint? He says, the first thing you do is remain quiet. Let the customer get it off their chest,
Listen.
what they want to say. During that time, you will know whether or not, how much of a legitimate claim the customer's got. He says 99% of the time, they got a legitimate claim. 95% of the time, they're willing to get less than what you're willing to give. He says, for example, I let them just get it all out of their system, and then I asked them, what would you like me to do about it? And 95% of the time, they will say, could I have 20% off on my next purchase or something like that? And he says, I can see that there was a legitimate problem with this.
Yeah.
I want that customer to know I'm going to give them a choice and just say, well, I'd rather you do one or two things. I'd rather give you your money back for this full refund, or I can replace it.
Yeah.
And your choice. And he says, then after they, make that decision, just say, oh, by the way, next time you come in on me, I'm going to give you additional 10% off. And that way they go home and they feel like they won. And all you did was just remain quiet, give them a chance to get the frustration off of their chest, and then you treat them like you want to be treated if you're in their shoes. And that was I never have forgotten that. And that's so valuable because, I've been in places where I've had want to tell somebody about a product that I wasn't happy with or whatever, and the first thing they want to do is shut me up. They want to start talking. And they interrupt me. Don't do that.
And we haven't had any other complaints about this. This is,
Yeah.
Did you do this right? Did you do that right? Did you do the other right?
Yeah.
No, we've all been there.
Yeah. That's like a buddy of mine. He was in Tucson, Arizona. I'll never forget. He had one of these. Bought one of these portable home deals where you spray paint and everything. I'm not going to mention the brand, but he had taken it back a couple of times because it didn't work right. And exactly what you said. The guy said, "Well, did you do this right? Did you do that right?" And so he went back the second time, and then the third time he headed it home. He's trying to get it to work. And I walk into his garage, and honest to goodness, he's got a hammer, and he's beating this thing in about 29 pieces. And I says, what are you doing? He looked at me and says, I'm enjoying myself. This thing has aggravated me so much, now I'm going to aggravate it back.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it is so important because regardless with what type of adventure you're in, people want to know whether or not you're listening to them.
Yes.
Do you hear me? That's so critical, so critical. And, Emerson, I just put up there on that. I've been letting it play on the marquee. I don't know if you've seen it or not there. About,
there you go.
Yeah. The sponsors that we also have is on Thursday, and Emerson spearheads that show, him and Mike. Lewis, and they have the library card there. They do the show Ideas Worth Knowing, and just share with the folks out there the reason why you and Mike came up with that idea. But we want to give back knowledge. We want to invest in others. And
Mike's a world-class publisher. He's had over 800 of his. He corrects me because I used to say 1,000, but over 800 of his authors that he's helped make bestsellers.
Wow.
And he's got over 1,500 authors who have bestsellers. Some of them previous ones and everything else. Like I have a bestseller that was done through, I think, Random House.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so he's got some really top-notch people.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of these folks, almost all of them, not 100%, but almost all of them are business oriented. Things to help you make a small business be able to move ahead of the other businesses in your niche, and be able to get the kind of knowledge and training and information that you need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to guide your business to the places that you wanted to go. So if anybody who goes to that link that Jim has so graciously put up will get what Mike calls his library card, and you'll be able to pick out some books that are business books with no obligation to buy anything.
Mm-mm.
And be able to get some books that will give you specific detailed training. Some of these books, Jim, have forms in them, have resources in them, have other things in them that will help people in trying to build their business without having to go and spend lots of money to do it. And you own a business, Jim. I mean, a small business. I mean,
Yeah.
It's okay, business owners, small business owners, and I'm speaking specifically to those companies. You only have so many hours in the day. You have people who you bring in. You do the very best that you can.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have an HR department. Maybe it's you. Maybe you have an accounting team. Maybe it's you. Small businesses can have up to, I think the government says, 500 employees. So it can be that kind of a range. But the thing is, you have to be present with your market, and you have to have your people lined up to be able to solve and handle and deal with and deliver on everything
Absolutely.
that your clients or customers or patients, because I'm including you in the medical profession in this,
Amen,
reach out to you for. And by the way, I'm also including everybody out there who's involved with a nonprofit. We do it. Jim and I have done a lot with VFW, American Legion.
Yes.
There are a lot of different nonprofits. I'm involved with the U.S. Green Chamber. There are a lot of different nonprofits out there. You have to think in terms of your clients or customers, what they are looking to feel, experience, not just learn or not just get, but how they want to feel about it. And feeling it. Look, folks, you won't do anything in your life. You will not make it. This has been proven in hundreds of studies. You will not do anything unless you feel it's the right thing to do at that moment. Now, that doesn't mean that a week later you won't have buyer's remorse and all the other stuff. But the thing is, the decisions that we make are decisions that we make based on how we feel about it. So when I say marketing is about relationships, when we used the phrase earlier about people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, for Mary Kay Ash, we're saying the same thing. And one of the ways, because we need to, let's see, we're about halfway through the show here. One of the ways that we can do this that really has just become available for anybody is to have a weekly or monthly publication that you reach out, a newsletter that you reach out and you share. You can share stories, you can share examples, you can share what's coming up. If you're a small town and you've got a visitors bureau, what are the festivals that you got coming up? What are the parades? What's the museums that you have? Who's the oldest person in your community? What is it that your community is known for? And build that relationship with the people who visit your website, who come to your town, who come to your store, who come to your practice. and take it out of the realm of a transaction
Right.
into the
Right.
realm of a relationship.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It sure does, and I like that because I want to know that the people I'm dealing with, I want them to, I want to have a relationship with them. I want them to, at least appreciate me, And I still got to holler out here about, ideasworthknowing.com, because the reason that is so valuable, back when I had my manufacturing business, there were times when I had a problem I was struggling with and I didn't know how to deal with it. And it came back to, like that old song Ghostbusters sang by Ray Parker Jr. back in 1984, who you going to call? And see, the beauty that we have today at our fingertips online, and this is just one example, Ideas Worth Knowing, you can be able to fine-tune and talk to subject matter experts who have been there, who have done it, who may be able to help give you the answer that you're looking for in your hour of need. And it's so important to be able to connect with people like that. And one of the people I have connected with recently, and I want to give them a shout out because they have really helped me, and I'm going to tell you why they really helped me and what I really appreciate about them as soon as I can find the marquee I made up for them there. Here we go. That marquee is numlookup.com. How many times have we all received a phone call that we didn't recognize the number? Or you get a message and the message is worded very, very cleverly and you're thinking, who is this? Because when I send out a text message to somebody, I'll say, hi, Bill, hi, Jane, whoever. This is Jim Grant, or Jim Grant here. That's the way I put it. That way they know right out of the gate who they're dealing with. But you go to numlookup.com. This is what's neat about it. It doesn't cost you a penny. It's free. And when I say free, free to me doesn't mean free for them to look it up and then charge me $2 or $3 or whatever for me to see it. No, free means you're going to look it up and tell me who it is. You can put in the number there, and you can also put in names and stuff, but I'm just interested in the reverse number. Put the phone number in there, click on the little search, the little magnifying glass, and within 5 seconds it will generate a report. See the report. This is what's neat about it. It will let you know, ladies and gentlemen, if it's a landline, if it's a mobile phone, or if it's a VoIP phone, which is Voice over Internet Protocol. All VoIP phones I block, and I'll tell you why. Because if people who use these Voice over Internet phone calls, they want to camouflage and hide who they are. I don't think you want to deal with anybody like that. I know I don't.
Well, some do, and some don't.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because like, for example, we have our landline through our cable company.
Mm-hmm.
That comes through as a VoIP number.
Okay.
But the thing is, we're still connected to that number. So if you use this system, or this program that Jim is talking about, it'll tell you, oh, this belongs to, Joe
Jones,
or whatever, wherever in Manila, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or this is a company, some company you've never heard of. So it'll tell you all of those things, and that's important.
Yeah, because when it's the normal VoIP, it says we've searched, X number of records, millions of records, whatever. We can't find the name on this, who owns this phone, the company or something.
That one's a both.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about. But when they identify the person and they identify the, company that they're with, but see, it's nice to know those things. And for the longest time, I've looked for a service that would, provide me with the basic information, because we used to have white pages and, all that stuff, and you look up reverse numbers, and then it got to where it's charging stuff, and At least it did at one time, and I just forgot about them. But these Num Lookup, they will let you look up 5 or 6 numbers a day for free. And if you want to look up more than that, there's a charge for it. But what I do, I just wait till the next day and it rolls over again.
Jim, when you get those numbers, their services, you can turn some of that stuff in and actually potentially end up being paid if they're spamming you.
Yeah. Okay. You want to expand on that?
Yeah. Well, no, because we're going to talk about newsletters before we're done.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that afterwards if it's real good. If I can make you a couple $100, you're in, folks.
Yeah, that's another show. That's another show.
Go ahead, sir, please.
Is, what Jim just shared is very important.
Mm-hmm.
All of us get these crank calls, spam calls. And asking them to take you off of their list doesn't do any good. Getting on the do not call list, they don't care. Their numbers change. Yeah. They'll use one number for a few weeks and they'll change to a different one. So all of these are really kind of shady efforts to get your money.
Yeah.
But I want to talk with everybody about the idea. We all get 100 emails in our inbox. We all get these spam calls that Jim is talking about. If you get junk mail in your mailbox, we don't get as much as we used to because it costs some money, and they can spam your inbox or cover you up in your Facebook or in your Instagram with all sorts of stuff. Or gosh, even now when you sign on to Google or MSN or whoever, you got 50 different stories there to try to attract your attention.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
What are the things that we can do if you are a visitors bureau in a small town, or if you are a dentist, or if you're a VFW post, or if you're a small business somewhere, and you want to begin having people opt in to receive information from you. And the shortest and simplest solution is a newsletter. And here's the problem. Most people don't have, and believe me, when I say here's the problem, because I was often the one who got tasked with it. Who's going to do it? How do we stay on top of them doing it? Can they do it and not fall behind on everything else that we're supposed to be doing? And how much is it going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's probably some other things, but those are all the things that I've been exposed to. And the thing is, 2 or 3 things are developing that's making this so affordable and so accessible that any small business, I'm talking about solopreneurs, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm talking about one-person shops who handle the visitors bureau for a small town. I'm talking about the person who is the dental assistant who's also tasked with handling the website for the dentist. Okay? But these are things that technology has advanced so much in the last 12 to 18 months. And fortunately, you mentioned Mike Lewis. I know you have my site up there, and you can reach out to me anytime that you want to. Mike Lewis has done a lot of research in this arena.
Yeah.
Having a newsletter is so much more powerful for the people who are interested in being your client or patient or visitor, or who are your client or patient or visitor. And just so that you know, my history, and I showed you Opulence magazine, okay, and I've had articles in all sorts of magazines. I've been interviewed on all sorts of broadcast and television and you name it over the years. I'm not saying that for me. I'm saying it so that you know that the things that I'm sharing with you really are extraordinary, and they really are something that I never had the opportunity to use until now. But I'm going to show you a couple of other paper newsletters that I was in charge of. I was the president of Sales and Marketing Executives. Whoops. And every single month, that's me too, Jim. Okay. A long time ago. Every single month, I
dotted line.
Yep, I produced this newsletter for Sales and Marketing Executives, which is it's four full pages, and we use that to build the relationship with our membership. This is one that I did when I was doing work in the real estate space, and I managed this one and all the marketing for it.
Quick turn, huh?
And we sent this out to 15 to 20,000 people every month. But the thing is, it was something that became a profit center for the company because it was so valuable to the people. And digital newsletters can be done without all the printing and mailing and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
And they have the same effect. And they can become a profit center, but they can also become a relationship center. This is one other one that I did for our sailing club a number of years ago. And my wife and I were cruise captains, and I managed the newsletter, and I did the cruise news you can use.
Cruise news you can use, huh?
and it became a thing because, as many of you know, my wife's name is Ann, and I'm Emerson. And we signed it off as the A&E channel, Jim. We were the A&E, and people still, I'll run into them and say, you're the A&E channel.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's cool.
You know, why do a newsletter? And I want us to put up, I'm going to put up Mike's information here because Mike is really so much more. He has paid and gone to events and studied this a lot more extensively than me.
Yeah.
And it took, I'll be honest with everybody. Call it, maybe it's a brain injury, maybe it's just that timing for me, but it took me a while to really wrap my head around just how much of a huge advantage this could be, even though I had done those things. That's why I wanted everybody to see them. I'd done stuff like that. But now, in the time I was going through one level of stuff, Mike had pulled together 4 or 5 newsletters. That's how much more advanced he is. And if you guys want more information, reach out to him. That's why we put his information up there.
Yeah.
But a newsletter is different than an email. How many emails do you get every day, Jim? 50, 100?
It's at least 50.
At least?
And my spam, if I go 2 days, I look at my spam, I got 300 or 400 in there.
And my wife, God love her, she I've got to try to go back into some of these things where and figure out where she's said okay, like Facebook. Hey, you ever opt in for Facebook to send you messages on your phone? Good luck. Good luck figuring out how to get them off. Okay, instant messaging and all these different things. So people are just deluged with this. But you can create an excitement and something they look forward to every single month.
Yeah.
And it can be done literally. As I'm lying, I'm dying, Jim. In less than a half hour, I watched Mike put one together for somebody who's actually been on one of our shows. Okay. And it just blows my mind. A newsletter helps you stay on top of the mind. And I'm talking about newsletters that maybe have a joke of the day. You know, maybe they have maybe they have a survey, or maybe they have a little trivia thing in them, or a little article, or a video, because these are digital ones. These aren't the old school ones that you got to print and mail and everything. Interesting little things, not pitching them all all the time.
No.
Maybe you have something that's an offer in it every time, but keep that part of it light. You're building a relationship here.
Yeah.
Building a relationship here. And it keeps you on the top of their mind. But folks, just so you know, I'm reading down a list here because I came prepared today. Usually Jim and I just kind of banter back and forth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted you to get this.
Yeah.
Being top of mind matters. Because there's always somebody else. And it's not just, oh, we go by word of mouth and we have this deep relation. No. It's opportunity. It's in the moment. It's that phone call Jim was talking about right at the moment that they happen to need something. And this happens every day. That newsletter helps keep you in the top of their mind. And it helps build that brand awareness that people spend so much money in the wrong directions, you know, with cute little cartoon characters and jingles and goofy advertisements and everything else. But it keeps you in the top of their mind, okay? It helps to really build an awareness of your brand. That's a trust level. A trust level awareness.
I got to get a power supply here. I'm about out of battery.
Okay,
so.
well, we'll keep it going, Jim.
Keep it going.
We'll keep it going. Is everybody else's power okay? Okay, good. Mine is too. So we'll keep it going. So this isn't about building a brand awareness so they recognize your mascot or your logo or your jingle. This is about building a brand awareness. Your brand is everything you are. It's everything you stand for. And your brand is something that when it's in their mind, that affects their buying or their other decisions. Okay, their donating decisions or their decisions to come to you instead of somebody else. Having even a monthly newsletter, and most of the ones I worked on were monthly. I had some that were weekly, but most of them were monthly. It helps to increase your website traffic. And not just that, but it helps you to generate leads. Because if you have interesting stories and interesting sidebars and interesting jokes and things like that, they'll share it. And you encourage them to share it. You can even give them incentives to share it. Because you want that message to get out to more people. Well, this is one of those under the radar ways that can do it. So you can increase your website traffic. You can generate new leads from it. You can have competitions. You know, you can have all sorts of things that give people that advantage. Jim has one finger up. What's the finger up?
Well, Emerson knows me very well. Sometimes when I hear something, my mind will start frequency hopping.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. At least I'm honest. But I was just thinking about that. Why not, with your newsletter, marry up with certain companies that can provide something of value, and then incorporate them in your newsletter because you're blessing them and you're offering something of value to your followers.
Oh, sure, Jim, you just did that.
I did?
You did. With a company that'll track phone calls that you don't want to have.
Yep.
You just gave something of value. How much money do you make if they go there, Jim? I want to know this.
You said you weren't going to ask that on. They don't, ladies and gentlemen, they don't even know I did that. Numlock, they don't even know I did that. I might tell them after the show, but I'm not doing it for money. No, because they provide a free service to me, and I wanted to pay them back. I want to pay it forward.
And folks, I'm going to ask you this. Was that a value to you? It was a value to me. I wrote it down. It's a value to me. Jim's it's not something to buy this, and when you buy this, I'm going to get this. You can do that too in your newsletter. There's nothing at all wrong. Just do it every so often. make the newsletter part of that relationship building that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And encourage the people to share your newsletters, share the stories.
Oh, yeah.
It establishes you as an expert.
Mm.
It helps them to recognize you as an expert in your space.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of a newsletter is that relationship part. That increases not just conversions. It increases your retention.
Yes.
It increases that loyalty factor,
Mm-hmm.
that energy factor, that connection that you have.
Yeah. Your credibility goes up.
Your credibility goes up in there. You
Yeah.
obviously know your stuff.
Oh, yeah. And you care.
And I've shared the story, Jim, before with our audience about I have a young doctor, and he's from Asia,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, he's one of the best I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
He will research something and get back to me. He doesn't just act like I don't know. He's the doctor and I'm the patient. We've all had people like that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He'll say, and he said it to me this morning, I'm not really sure about that. I'm going to I'll research it. I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That establishes him as an expert to me.
Yes. He
An
cares.
expert doesn't just know everything.
Right.
An expert is honest, and they will give you information when they're sure about it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right, Jim?
You're absolutely correct. And people will appreciate that in the long run. And, your credibility just goes right through the roof when you do that, because people realize if you're honest about something that a lot of people may want to not admit, they know then they can trust you.
Yes.
And that is critical.
I trust him.
Yeah.
I trust him.
Yeah.
And he told me today something that he said, I'm not really an expert in that area. You probably should ask, your doctor for this. He said, but I will research it and let you know what I find out. So they also are cost-effective marketing, because if somebody opts in to get a newsletter from you, that person is more inclined to pay attention when you do have a marketing message. And I really encourage you, don't just pitch. That's the fastest way to have an unsubscribe. But when you do, the marketing that you do is going to have a greater effect.
Yeah.
Because there's a personal level to that communication. It's something that you're doing that people see more than call into customer service, call into a sales firm, come in and see us, come in and blah, 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 blah. It's personal and have some humor in it. Have some odd things in it, like trivia or just things that don't have anything at all to do with getting a credit card from the people. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
It helps you to track engagement with people, to know when you see people are opening and reading them, and it's going to be higher than almost any other marketing that you do, any other email or just about anything else.
Yeah.
When you see the number of people that, and I encourage you, have those tracking programs in place. That's why we put Mike's information up here. Can you throw it back up there, Jim?
Yeah, I sure can, sir. I'll be glad to.
Because Mike, like I said, Mike is so much further along in all of this than me, but the things that I have learned about it have just absolutely blown my mind.
I've
You
got
can
it right
track
here.
the engagement. If people are reading and opening your newsletter,
Yeah.
what does that tell you about them?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that tell you about? And if you can, and if you see that more people are opening the newsletter and reading something when here was the headline and here was the thing and this was the area that they were interested in, what does that? What kind of information does that give you for the rest of your marketing?
Oh, yeah.
I
And
don't
what
care if you're a dentist sending out postcards, or if you're a nonprofit, or if you're a small town visitors bureau, what does it tell you about the market? If the one about What's the gardens that are there near you, Jim?
The gardens?
It seems like there was some gardens or something there in
Well, they got
it's
they got the
both
Rose
places.
Emporium. Yeah, Rose Emporium's close by, and of course they got the state park. Brazos
Okay.
on the
So okay, so if you find out that, holy cow, look at there, our
Mm-hmm.
open rate jumped through the roof on that.
hmm
That tells you about your market. And what are you going to do with that information? You're going to say, okay, well, let's do a little bit more in that direction and see what happens, because
Yeah.
that's how marketing works. And finally, so tracking your engagement is important. Finally, for those of you who do have a small business, this keeps you so far ahead of your competitors. It's not even describable, because you're doing something they're probably not doing, or if they are, they're not doing it well. You are having people, the open rates on this are through the roof, Jim. You're having people that you're communicating with, who are paying attention, and you're able to deliver messages constantly. And when they get something from you, they read it. So folks, there's a lot of great reasons.
Yeah.
Look into it. Reach out to Mike. He's got his email up here, I think.
Yeah.
And
Mike at ideasworthknowing.com.
yeah, and we'll probably talk more about this one Thursday, Jim, when we don't have a guest on the
Okay,
show. We'll
all
probably
right.
talk more about it. But folks,
Okay.
just
Yeah,
look at
'cause-
this, because this is something that I've been in marketing for over 40 years. This is
Yeah. The thing that I'm getting out of that too is that what Emerson is saying, that when you get a reputation of providing value, valuable information and valuable things, when you do have something that you want to present for someone to buy, they will
listen.
know, they'll listen, because they know you bring valuable information to them. You're not just, hey, did you hear about my latest sale, and stuff like that. I mean, it's just,
and trust me, folks, the newer technology advances like AI and other things have made this so anybody can have this in your business or in your nonprofit.
yeah. Be sure and
it's amazing to me.
yeah. We're out of time. Be sure and get back with us, and get back with Emerson too. His website there is web3direct.com, because Emerson's just a jewel to have here on the show. You don't know describe a guy as a jewel, but I mean, he's just got a boatload of knowledge. And Emerson is he's the friend that you've never met yet. That's the best way I can describe Emerson to anybody.
Thank you, Jim.
And that's very, very accurate. And you can pay me $20 after the show for that
That's
comment.
okay.
But, yeah.
And Jim is Mr. Everything you think about integrity and
Yep. And that's going to cost me $40, so I'm going to owe him $20 after the show.
and
Ladies
Mike,
and-
we have Mike's information on there too. We'll probably talk
yeah.
more about this on one of our Thursday shows.
Yeah, please. Yeah, that's very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone, but we want to personally thank you for tuning in today. Emerson and I were so grateful we had this opportunity to provide some value to you and maybe someone that you know. So be sure and share the show with them. We're on YouTube, Facebook. You can go to our website, mytvshow.live. It'll take you right there. And thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you have a blessed evening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.